Question for those who have been reported missing. What happened to you? There was a funny story about my cousin, who was just a 4-year-old boy. We were holidaying at the beach with the family when suddenly he disappeared. Everyone started looking for him, and it took hours until we discovered that he had gone to a hotel just a 2-minute walk from the beach to use the toilet. There he met other children and started playing with them, and the adults even thought he was the son of the hotel guests. He even had lunch with them while we were looking for him. Another memory comes to mind. When I was about 6 years old, my family and I were on holiday in Yosemite, staying at a campground. There I befriended a boy who was a little older than me, and we decided to explore the surrounding area. After getting lost, we encountered a bear cub in the woods. For a few minutes, we just stood there staring at each other for a few minutes before heading back to camp. The park rangers were already out there looking for us, and my parents were in a panic. However, my story about the bear cub didn't seem as interesting to them as it did to me. Another interesting adventure happened to me when I went camping with some friends. We got out to a national park and decided to do a long hike on mountain trails. At one point, when we were getting pretty tired and wanted to find a place to sleep, we lost the trail. At first, this scared us, especially since it was getting dark fast and we weren't prepared for an overnight stay in the open. However, instead of panicking, we decided to use our orienteering skills and started looking for signs of the trail. Eventually we found it, but it was too late to continue the hike. Instead, we camped right on the trail, made a campfire, and spent a wonderful evening under the stars. This incident reminded me of the importance of flexibility and the ability to adapt to unexpected situations on hikes. We overcame the obstacle together and made it an unforgettable experience. When I was in rehab for drug addiction, another disappearance situation happened, but this time I didn't warn anyone. My ex-boyfriend was the only one who knew about my problem. One day the hospital receptionist called my mum, telling her that I had been disappeared for a month. My mum started panicking and demanded information about me. They had no right to report my whereabouts without my consent, so they asked me to call and tell them myself. When I finally got out of there, I saw messages from many people, including from work, asking if I was alive. It turned out that my best friend and brother had reached out to the ex-boyfriend for help, but he hadn't responded. My mum started thinking that the neighbours had killed me and my friends were just trying to find me. In reality, it was just a crazy whirlwind of events, and my missing phone call only made things worse. In 2015, after losing my job and having a difficult year, I decided to pack up my backpack, get on my motorbike, and go to another city to get my mind off things. I spent a week on the beach, in bars and clubs, staying in a hostel. They were great days of relaxation and fun. On my return, I was stopped on the road. My former colleagues and neighbours became concerned and even reported my disappearance to the police. The police checked my activity and found that I had not been on social media or in contact with my relatives for a long time. All this was happening while I was trying to hide from trouble. After a brief discussion with the police officers and confirmation of my well-being, I returned home. Many people appeared concerned about my disappearance, and this was good to know. I realised the importance of my actions and their impact on those around me. My brother was also reported missing due to his paranoid schizophrenia. He was found and taken to the hospital. This experience made me think about mental health and the importance of support in these situations. During a 3-week holiday, I received a call from my boss, expressing concern as the police had received a report of my disappearance from my neighbour. This message even pleasantly surprised me, as it indicated that I had caring neighbours. After hearing about the police report from my neighbour, I appreciated the gesture, realising that even at a distance from me they were monitoring my well-being. We went on holiday to Scotland, and there I decided to play hide-and-seek with my sister. Noticing that she was looking for me, I decided to hide just opposite the front door of the cottage under some bushes. To my surprise, my sister didn't find me, and even after a long time of searching, my parents couldn't figure out my hiding place. Hours passed, it got dark, and I was still sitting in the bushes enjoying the game. My sister just sat on the porch, unsuspecting. After searching for me all day through the woods, she finally figured out where I was sitting. One day, my friend and I decided to collect fallen leaves from the trees in our neighborhood and sell them to our neighbors for $5. We got so excited about it that we got lost and could not find our way back home. When darkness fell, we found ourselves in a completely unfamiliar place. It was only through the sound of a police siren and the lights of a police car that we were able to get home. We were so scared and tired that it seemed like the journey had taken forever. The next day, our parents chastised us much more seriously than we expected for our careless wandering. They even took away our hard-earned money. This was about 10 years ago, when I had just moved to California with my ex-husband. Our ground floor neighbor was a real nuisance, constantly giving us trouble. One day she came running at us, threatening us after she thought I had initiated some noise in the flat next door. We tried to avoid conflict with her by leaving the house as quietly as possible, but that didn't always help. I even wrote a complaint about her to the management company of the house and reported her to the police. When we got home, she started screaming and banging on our door, so we decided to go away for the weekend to Yosemite to relax. When we returned 4 days later, I found my in-laws panicked and even thought we had been murdered. It was my first camping trip ever, and my mother took it as a bad sign. She even told the police that a neighbor had killed us and was wearing masks made of our skin. But really, we were just camping and having fun. When I called them to tell them about our adventure, they were first scared and then laughed. This incident was an unforgettable experience that I often remember with a smile. Another amazing incident happened when I was on holiday in Florida. I went for a walk on the beach and walked far away from where we were camping. When I returned, I found that the wind had blown it away and the tent was gone. But when I got closer, I saw my family having fun rocking out on the beach. It turned out they had decided to pull a prank and hide the tent to scare me. Of course I was furious. But then we all had fun together, laughing at this hilarious prank. Of course, here's another memory. When I was a student, we had a tradition of having little adventures during the holidays. One day we decided to go camping in the mountains. Everything was great until we lost one of our hiking mates. He went missing from sight during one of our snack breaks. We searched all around the area but still couldn't find him. After a few hours of searching, when it was starting to get dark, we realized that we needed to call in a search party. However, just as we pulled out our phone to call, our friend came back smiling and apologizing for being lost. It turned out that he had wandered a little further in search of the perfect spot for photos. This incident reminded us of the importance of caution in the mountains, and that even a seemingly safe place can become dangerous if you let your guard down. But in the end, all ended well, and we were able to continue our hike with a new lesson on the importance of safety in the mountains. Looking back at other adventures, one of the most memorable happened when I travelled by train. Halfway to my destination, the train suddenly stopped, and they announced that we were having engine trouble. We found ourselves stranded for an hour and a half right in the middle of nowhere. It was a little daunting at first, especially since I had to get to my destination with limited time. However, as time went on, passengers started chatting amongst themselves, and soon we turned the delay into a little party right in the carriage. People started sharing food, playing games, and even started singing. It was a great way to make friends with strangers and make this unexpected break more enjoyable. In the end, when the train finally got going again, I had many new acquaintances and some fun memories of this unusual stop on the train journey. As I think back to another adventure, I remember one time when I accidentally got lost in a town I had just moved to. I went for a walk, relying on the map on my phone, but at some point got lost and disorientated. At first I started to panic, but then I decided to use the situation as an opportunity to explore the new city. I wandered the streets, stopped at cozy cafes, met the locals, and just enjoyed the experience itself. Eventually I found my way home, of course, but that wandering turned into an adventure and helped me to better understand and love the new city I had just settled in. It was a great way to settle in and familiarize myself with the neighborhood.